cards here. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
The motion is to,
Is there a motion?
yeah,
Move to approve.
can you continue to read it?
No, I can't see it.
Okay.
I move to approve the continuation of city manager services with Michael Bornstein.
So moved.
And seconded.
Second.
Okay, public comment. Dave Stewart, Mayor Stewart,
Wow.
followed by John Faust.
April 18th, 2015, is that Don? Name right, serial number. Anyway, Andy, I know you're under the weather. Michael makes some mango moonshine. He cures everything.
You're not supposed to say that.
He does it off business hours.
Did
He has a
did
permit,
not
he has a
cure all
permit.
ills? Yes, it did.
You're not helping his case.
Directed towards me there, Mayor, you know the rules.
I know the rules.
I'm all big and shag.
Okay, Madam Mayor and Commissioners, you know, Michael Bornstein's been here for a number of years now, a couple of years. You are one of the large cities. It is time for you to step up to the plate. And I know it's very hard to discuss compensation and extensions in a public meeting, but you need to look at the comments you've heard from about your block grants going through, you've heard from residents. My family has lived in Lake Worth since the 30s, probably older than anyone except the Easton family, okay? Because they were here 30 years, 40 years before that. And people still contact me and say they feel how great the city of Lake Worth is going under the present administration. And with your administrator, you all need to realize he makes that happen. And it is time, you need to look back. You've eliminated some people that were in that position in the past. They were compensated in a greater fashion than the current one. You really need to look at it, and I feel it's time to step up to the plate and take care of your city administrator in the way that he deserves. Thank you.
Thank you. John Faust, followed by Loretta Sharp.
What's this?
John Faust, downtown merchant professional, president of the Downtown Jewel Neighborhood Association, and also speaking for the NFPC. I didn't want to come up here 3 times. Just briefly, as a downtown professional, Michael's helped me numerous times with my customers, helping do the proper thing and doing things right in the city, and crazy, overwhelming support from me personally and my office. As the Downtown Jewel president, we had our neighborhood meeting last night, and overwhelming appreciation from Downtown Jewel residents for the city manager and the wonderful things that he's helped us with. And then I just passed out, but this was emailed to all of you a few days ago, the official letter of support from the NAPC, and maybe the city clerk can read it into the minutes. I'm not going to read it, how's that? But each one of those paragraphs, there's a key point on where he's helped neighborhoods, uniting neighbors, helping with our REAP grants. Many people that we normally would see here tonight are in REAP meetings every Tuesday right now, trying to get some wonderful county money, and that goes hand in hand with the city manager and his staff to get that executed and let us take home all those checks that help the cities and the communities within the city so well. Thank you. Obviously, we encourage and support keeping our city manager.
Thank you. Loretta Sharp, followed by Herman Robinson.
Loretta Shop, 1311 South Conway. I think that you should extend his contract if he gets rid of that stupid bow tie. I'm so sick of it. Now, to be more serious, I like what Michael has done with the staff of the city of Lakewood. It's as if they took a big sigh and just the stress went out of them. I like that what he's done with code. I like William Waters' sustainability, though I can't pronounce it correctly, department. And I sell real estate, and I sell both commercial and residential real estate. And the things that I get from business owners, the things that I get from people who are starting business and renting, the things I get from residents that are adding on to their homes, are much different than what I hear sitting on this dais. People are really pleased with the way that Lake Worth is growing. They're really happy with the way Lake Worth is growing, and I know outside of Lake Worth, our reputation has improved 1,000%, due mostly to Michael Bornstein and the commission, and I hope that you continue it. But please make him get rid of that tie.
Herman Robinson, followed by John Deese.
John Deese.
Good evening. Herman Robinson, Ocean Breeze.
Quick before the buzzer goes off.
I wrote this down, so that's how important it is to me, anyhow. Commissioners come and go, but in order to demonstrate consistency and stability with the professional leadership that Mike has demonstrated with his professional staff and employees, please show your confidence and give him your best possible contract to show that Lake Worth is on a great path to the future.
Thank you. John Deese, followed by John Zerdy.
John Deese isn't here. Oh, he is.
He's here.
Somebody.
John, long time.
My name is John Deese, and I'm a small business owner here in Lake Worth. And I also, unfortunately, I no longer live in Lake Worth. I moved to Lantana a couple of years ago. But
Throw him out of here.
one of the interesting things about that is when I moved to Lantana, I had an issue with it in going through some issues with the city, and I paid a visit to the city. And the person that helped me had helped me and did a great job. I was amazed because in Lake Worth, I'm not exaggerating, it would take me 3 months to get done what I got done basically in a few hours there. And at that point in time. And so when I told him, I said, thank you very much for what a great job you did as a city employee. He said, don't thank me, he said, thank Mike Bornstein. And he didn't know that I knew anything about Mike Bornstein. And he said, Mike drilled us and taught us that serving the public is what we're here for, and that's what we do every single day. And we do our best job of doing that. And so for Mike, I say thank you for that, because in Lantana, it's great. And I have to say, as a small business owner, now that Mike has been involved in the city, I have seen major improvements, and I've seen a responsiveness that I've never seen before, and I'm very, very impressed with that. And I owe that all to Mike and the great leadership he's providing to the city. And in my opinion, if you paid him twice as much as what he's making, he'd be a bargain. So,
John Zerdy, followed by Ted Johnson.
Oh, I don't mind your tie, Mike, but I don't like to wear it myself. But for you tonight, I would wear this.
It's a clip
on. Mike has always supported us. One of the things when I first got there, and you're here 3 years almost now, right? So I get in there, and Mike says, well, we have to do a few things around the city here. One of the main things is we have to get rid of the disincentives, which we've been talking about for quite a while, where people do not want to come to our city, but they do now. And so we had a whole outline. We had the board up there, and he was very serious about these things, even though we have enjoyed our time. You conduct yourself professionally, yet we still enjoy the time that we're spending when we do get things done. Other things that happened was very proactive on things. So maybe we have this ITN, we have some things going on right now that you go, what's going on? But you have a problem, and you always just look at, how can we solve this? Not as it's just a problem. People come up to us all the time and say they have complaints, something that's not right. but you should still also have an idea of maybe how could we fix it. Mike has ideas of how to fix things. You might not always agree with some of those things all the time, but you have ideas, and you're not afraid to put them forward. You don't sit up here and go, well, maybe we might do it, or I'm not sure, let me get back to you. You have ideas, and you give it to us, and we get to do it. Another great thing, we hired an internal auditor. Thank God we have an internal auditor. You've made the city so much more efficient with an internal auditor that was not here for years and years when things were like, we didn't know where they were. We still don't know where some things were back then, right? But you do know where a lot of things are now. Even though some people may be more confused about it, I think the backup is there, the material is there. Yeah, you have to take time to read it. There's hundreds of pages every time there's a meeting here to be prepared for these meetings. But Mike does a great job, and I consider us great friends and very lucky. And Dave Stewart, you don't have to take it out of your budget anymore, right, for this, but
Thank you.
I think it's worth it here.
Thank you. Ted Johnson, followed by Chip Guthrie.
Art. Ted Johnson, proud resident of South Palm Park, 802 South Palmway. I just want to add my voice to those who feel that Mike has been a tremendous addition to the city. And in my dealings with him as neighborhood president and in personal needs, he's been very responsive, very open, and a real joy to work with. And I hope the commission does him well in retaining him in our city government. Thank you.
Thank you. Chip Guthrie, followed by Joanne Golden.
And yes, it is a clip. I've been waiting for a long time to wear this thing. Madam Mayor, Commissioners, our current city manager, Mr. Bornstein, has had the most positive effect on how our city is viewed throughout the county, working with people and neighboring communities and not against them. He has raised the trust of officials and repaired damaged relations brought about by previous administrators and administrations by showing the proper way to run a city. Since Mr. Bornstein has been our city manager, Lake Worth has not been the spectacle it was in news reports. We are now compared to Del Rey instead of Belle Lake. He not only listens to the problems residents have, but tries to propose solutions to very difficult problems. He delegates responsibility to a very qualified staff and knows that he has their back. He is on top of neighborhood issues and tries to get to know people who can help spread the positive image of why Lake Worth is such a wonderful place to live and work. From day one, Mr. Bornstein has been very approachable. He returns emails and forwards them to the staff or departments so that topics can be taken care of. As he has allowed the code department enough resources to fully staff itself with well-qualified personnel and has taken on years of back taxes and code fines, bringing in much-needed revenue to the general fund. He has worked in innovative ways to get our casino fully occupied after failure of the traditional means to just rent it. He was instrumental in welcoming the Benzaiden Center to our community, which will raise the awareness of Lake Worth as an arts mecca well beyond the county and state borders. I believe he has earned the respect that's so desperately needed to return to this position. Before Mr. Bornstein applied for his position as city manager here, he had held that position in Lantana for 14 years. Lantana has always been seen as a stable, low-key bedroom community with a very stable government and no bad press. Lake Worth, on the other hand, has always been a hotbed of political instability, social unrest, and infighting. A neighbor that took over 30 years to fix its own beach, but one with big potential. I think Mr. Bornstein has shown he has knowledge, the enthusiasm, the energy, and the vision to help Lake Worth achieve its true potential. I truly hope you agree this ability has achieved here in raising of the perception among neighboring cities and the county as a whole.
Thank you.
And guide
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. Grab the hook. Where's the hook? Joanne Golden, followed by Lisa Maxwell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. I'm sort of in the minority here. I don't have a bow tie. And I just want to bring up a couple of things. One, I don't see any city manager reports. I think it would be important to have city manager reports and not just a manager report that says what the next agenda partially will be. You know, part of the problem with the city is that a lot of people feel that there's a lack of transparency. And we don't have an evaluation of a city manager and you don't have transparency in what's been brought up into the city, because they're ideas that people come up with. And we don't know where these ideas come up with. So I think it's a problem when it initiates out of staff or out of the city manager and we don't have a report about it. So it would be really important that the city manager write reports after, for the commission meeting, so that we know what is going on behind the scenes, so that we're not brought up to date when there's a ITN, when there's a Siemens contract, when there's a baseball park in John Prince Park, when there's a, a charter amendment to be sent to the county, to the state. We don't have that information. I also have a question about the 2-inch pipe replacement and why our streets were dug up and our alleys were dug up by the gas company. And we didn't have any idea what was happening, or maybe we could have repaired a lot of those lines at that time when the gas company came and opened up alleys east of Dixie. It was a perfect time to replace a lot of the pipes. And if there was better coordination between the city manager and the other institutions that have parts of our city, whether it's Comcast or whether it's the gas company, that we know what's going on in our city and we're up to date on it. And I think a city manager report would help. And I think evaluation of the city manager by the commission, open to the public, would be very, very wise for this commission.
Thank you. Lisa Maxwell, followed by C. Someone just wrote C. Who is it?
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. I was very concerned about Lake Worth before Mike got here. We had an unfortunate series of commissions that I don't believe were competent to govern, and city managers that were not competent. And there was talk at the state level of dissolving our city. We're on the verge of bankruptcy. And we had just been mismanaged to the point where many of the residents were incredibly concerned about the future of the city. And when I heard Mike was coming, I knew there was hope. And that's really what Mike represents, is a new hope for the city. That we could actually be taken seriously as a municipality, that we can govern ourselves appropriately, do the business that municipal governance is supposed to do for the residents. And he could manage Tampa, he could manage Fort Lauderdale, he could manage Orlando. He has that capacity. And I asked Mike why he wanted to come here, because I was really curious about what would actually cause him to step into this breach. And he said that he wanted the challenge. And I know he got it. But he's great to work with. And I think that he encourages the citizens to participate. I know at our utility board meetings, he's very available. He comes, he attends, he takes an interest. He communicates with us, and I think you can't ask for a more competent manager, and my hope is that you choose to extend his contract and thank him for the job he's done for our city and my family. Thank you.
Thank you.